All right. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Like I said, if you come on and you can't hear me, just kind of let me know. I know the technology is always not my friend. So just kind of let me know if there's ever a time where you can't hear me. So thanks to everyone for tuning in and everyone who's going to watch this later on. So my name is Fawn Walker Montgomery. I'm the CEO and co-founder for Take Action Advocacy Group, TAG for short. My guest today couldn't join us. One of my founding chapter members, Soleil Mead, had a loss in her family, so please send them love and light. Hopefully, we can have her on next month. So I want to thank my team before we kind of go into the highlights for 2023 and what we're working on 2024. I want to thank my team. Heaven knows I don't forget anyone. I want to thank the Most High and myself, the Most High for giving me the energy to continue to do the work. I want to thank Soleil Mead. She has been with us from the very beginning. She's one of our founding chapter members. She's also our senior manager of branding and program strategy. Our intern, Grace Walker, our past team members who have moved on, Morgan Clark, Marley Parker, Mary Nesby. Mary is the councilwoman at Homestead. Also, our chapter members, Amber Webb, Courtney Tompkins, Niall Bill, Mary Nesby from Duquesne, and our youth chapter. Our consultant, Liv Bennett, and our social media team at Fostering Strategies. That is not us when we're doing most of those posts. That is Fostering Strategies. So shout out to my team. I don't do any of this work alone. Thank you for them. So then I just want to kind of go into the highlights from this past year. So the way we take action, we have our social justice, complaint program. We call that victim advocacy. So within that program, we did a lot in 2023. We worked with D Rock, as we affectionately call D Rock. Felicia Harvey is her name. She's a Black elderly woman in Penn Hills who was being racially harassed by her neighbor. So this has been going on for almost 3.5 years now. So we've been supportive of D Rock and her partner. Just helping them with legal assistance, court support, advocacy support. And D Rock has just been amazing. She's just been amazing in this process. Some of her charges did get dropped, which is a load off of her. The neighbor really only got small charges, but of course she got bigger charges than him, but they were dismissed. I would say he's kind of backed off a little bit. He kind of goes on and off, but that is still ongoing. We went to commissioner meetings in DeKalb County, which is in the Atlanta, Georgia area. We had one of our chapter members, her daughter, Quinasia Ball, was unfortunately murdered down there. And then from that tragic incident, we just found out about all the pedestrian deaths that have been occurring in the Atlanta area. So we went down there to a couple commissioner meetings. They don't call them council meetings, they call them commissioner meetings. So we went down there and advocated and were able to get some extra stoplights at the intersection, as well as a proclamation. None of this brings Quinasia back, but at least does give the family some kind of, I wouldn't say relief, but just something has come out of the tragic loss. However, the family will not be satisfied until he is arrested. So we're still waiting for the results of the investigation for that. So those were just kind of two examples of the work we do in our social justice complaint slash victim advocacy program. We affectionately call that social work or abolition social work. We really wish more people did it this way because after the protesting and the boycotting, there is the day to day of going through racism and what that looks like and what that brings out of people. So we kind of support people through that. We connect them with mental health therapy. We do wellness sessions with them, advocacy training. We processed 44 individual complaints in our social justice complaint program. There are a lot of connections with our complaint program and our chapters because many people who file complaints become chapter members. So out of the 44, 24 were new that we took on this year. A lot of our complaints stay with us for years and years because of the long-term effects that racism and white supremacy has on them. A majority of people are dealing with loss of their loved ones to police violence, school violence, or some other form of racial injustice. So sometimes that can be long term, sometimes that can be short term. Most times you don't hear about our short term ones. We don't post those. We're just in the trenches working with the people. So a total of 44 this particular year here in 2023. 29.5 were Black men, 54.53 were Black women, 2.27 Black trans women, 4.26% were Hispanic men and women, 4.5% were white men, and 4.5 were biracial women. The age range varied from 16 to 25 and 35 to 65. We also conducted individual and group trainings with chapter members, people who come through our complaint program, and community partners. And we conducted accountability meetings with McKeesport NAACP. So, what an accountability meeting is, that is when we feel like a system, whether that be a nonprofit, whether that be a government system, a school system, has been violent toward a BIPOC person, Black or brown people, when they've done things to basically uphold white supremacy. We call them in for what we call accountability meetings, and we don't just do that with white people, do that with anyone, because Black people, we can internalize white supremacy. So that's some of the vein we took when we did the accountability meetings this past year. Another complaint, social justice complaint, that I want to bring up is some that we did in Washington County. We have a case up there where a young brown man was shot by the police. And this is wow. It's on our website. You all can read about it there, but it's one of our blogs. This young man was shot by police. They decided not to charge, but the father never gave up. He reached out. We helped him advocate. And the coroner actually said that the officer should be charged. The DA up there is basically saying he's not going to charge. So, of course, that is a whole another realm of advocacy that we have to do. But getting that forward to the point where we were able to get the charges recommended is a big, big step. I don't know if I've been a part or seen that in years, where the actual coroner is saying you do actually need to charge for the shooting of this man. And the DA literally about a week or two later raided. Yes, y'all heard me. The DA got a court order to raid the coroner's office and the attorney's office. That basically said you need to charge. Ridiculous. So that's Washington County. So that is something that is ongoing. I just wanted to highlight some of those things that we've kind of worked on within our complaint program, within our training and consulting program. So we do trainings year round for people, individuals, groups, nonprofits, churches on community organizing, white supremacy, Black liberation, wellness, whatever. We can do a wide range of trainings. We do more marketing and graphics as well, because we have an amazing team at Soleil Branding Essentials, where they do our marketing, our graphics as well. So we can do trainings for anyone. We did a few this year for community members, as well as some on our consulting contracts. We do not believe in picking our brains for free. We're not doing that. So that's how we started to kind of really get into community contracts, and it's been really beneficial toward us. It's been a good way to reach out and have more partnerships, to also teach people, as well as been a good revenue source for us. So we had two this past in 2023. We had one with Penn State University, and they reached out to do listening sessions on food insecurity, and we did them in McKeesport and Duquesne and Clarion. Those were the three communities that they pointed out. And of course, our focus is small communities, such as the Mon Valley. So that was perfect for us. So we did 8 listening sessions. We had over 65 people attend within those listening sessions. And really, we just asked them, like, what does food insecurity look like for you in the Mon Valley? And there's going to be a report that Penn State and us is working on that we'll put out on our website in about a month or so. And the only reason we decided to do that is because we seen a connection with policy. So, and we also recognize the power of data. There is not a lot of data on the Mon Valley. You can look at our crime statistics. You can Google some things about schools that they have to put out, but there's really, especially no quantitative and qualitative data on the Mon Valley. People who will think how it is to live over here, but never really asking us on a deeper level. So we figured this was a good way to get some data on the Mon Valley, but also kind of lead to policy changes. And some of the things that the people pointed out to us during these sessions, we asked, like, what do you think gets in the way of food insecurity? And one thing that really stuck with me was when the people talked about the politicians. So they understand that the political battles between politicians gets in the way of us actually getting resources to address food insecurity. So that was a big piece that came out as well. We also worked with Women for Healthy Environment to do some listening sessions on lead, here specifically in McKeesport. Lead is an issue with environmental justice for a lot of communities. We've dealt with this in McKeesport for years. So once again, they reached out to us in regards to, how do we work with Black people in the McKeesport Mon Valley area. So we did some trainings as well, but also did some listening sessions to once again hear from the people. What does it look like for you? Do you even know what it is? Do you know how to address it? And that was really beneficial to hear from people and to just explain how we can do some of these things on our own. And we're looking to pass some policy here as well. So once again, there's that policy connection, which is why we kind of decided to do that as well. So we also have chapters, and within our chapters here in Allegheny County, it's called Take Action Mon Valley. So that's our old name, but after a rebrand, we renamed ourselves Take Action Advocacy Group because we were narrowing our focus really to all small communities across the world, really. And we kept the name Take Action Mon Valley, and that is the name for our chapter. So we have members from various communities: McKeesport, Duquesne, Swissvale, Clairton. Our youth chapter, which is very active, includes members from McKeesport School District, charter schools, universities such as North Carolina A&T, Propel, and CCAC. So within all of our chapters, everyone does is what we call a CAP, Community Action Plan. And within that community action plan, there are various issues that have been identified that they wanted to work on, such as police and street violence, mental health, wellness, employment, jobs, Black joy, school police, food insecurity, transportation, and education. So those were the core issues that were with all of our CAPs, as we call community action plans. Chapter members attended council meetings and school board meetings in Penn Hills, Clairton, McKeesport, and in Decatur, Georgia. So I talked about earlier the case that we had down there. I also went to more than 6 court hearings and advocated for themselves alongside a lawyer, or some just representing themselves. And want to point out that while TAG was there to support them, the members actually directly spoke at these meetings. They actually directly spoke with elected officials. It's important to ensure that their voices are heard and also that they're given opportunities to advocate. Of course, we give them talking points and training and advocacy plans, but it is important for the people to understand that, like, they are the answer, like we're the answer here. So they have to be the ones doing that. Of course, we model that for them, but after there's a comfort level there, then they're doing that on their own, which was amazing. So I wanted to highlight that. We also did a HBCU tour with our youth chapter this time around. So we took them to North Carolina A&T, Johnson C. Smith, and Winston-Salem. So we did like a HBCU tour, and it was amazing. The kids enjoyed it. We took them to a homecoming concert. Me and Soleil was about to sleep in the lobby, but we hung in there for the kids. But they had a really good time, and it's really important to, I would say, expose our kids to different things. So we always try to take them to outings, things that they may not generally be exposed to. So we wanted to take a trip. So we took them down to North Carolina. I've got an Airbnb for them, and took them to these college tours. They got an opportunity to talk to some of the students. Our youth chapter members are college students, so some of them were able to take them on tours, and that was amazing just to watch the growth in a lot of our kids and the development. So that's a huge highlight from last year. Other highlights include we also did a scholarship for Dante McKenneth. He was one of our social justice complaints. We work with his mom, Marie. Dante was killed here in McKeesport. He was a young black man who was killed in McKeesport. So he was a student. And we wanted to do a scholarship to honor Dante's name. So we did a scholarship last year, probably around August, in Dante's name. We gave out two scholarships to two young ladies who graduated from McKeesport High School to go to college and continue on their education. So those were some really, I would say, really good things in 2023. Um, One thing else I want to mention is our lawsuit. So we did finally file a lawsuit against the McKeesport Police Department for their harassment of the residents here in McKeesport after Kobe Francis shot an officer in 2020 in December. And afterward, police were looking for Kobe and they were breaking in people's doors at gunpoint at times. Basically held us at siege for about 7 days until Kobe was found. So that is not okay. One officer being shot, that officer did survive, but one officer being shot does not take away our constitutional rights. We still are people and we still are human, regardless if an officer was shot or not. That doesn't change the trajectory of our lives or our rights. So we pushed and pushed and pushed. It was a long haul coming, but we were able to get the lawsuit filed. So that is like not right now ongoing. We filed it and it was in late November. So it is an ongoing piece. We always need assistance with getting people back and forth to court. For that, they're in their talking stage now. So that is kind of where we are at with the lawsuit. So let me check and just kind of make sure that there are no questions in the chat. I don't see any. And I did want to share my screen here. I wanted to show you all this flyer here. Might not work. Oh, okay. All right. Well, look at that. Teamwork makes the dream work. So this is just an overview of what basically I just talked about as far as the highlights for TAG for 2023. We processed 44 individual complaints in our social justice complaint program, which we affectionately call Abolition Social Work. Within that, we serve 29.5% Black men. And you see all I want to read it again, but you see all the data there. We did our community scholarship. We had success in advocacy cases with meeting a lot of our demands here in Allegheny County, Washington, and Atlanta area. And of course, our ACLU lawsuit. These are just our highlights from 2023. We did a lot in 2023. And I just kind of went over a majority of it with you all, but this is, I would say, our highlights here. And the biggest takeaway that we always take away is giving people skills to advocate for themselves. And as well as our wellness sessions, that's a big highlight as well. But it's always important to really press the people that they literally are the answer, and the answer is always inside of them. But you really have to generally believe that. And it's hard. It is hard fighting racism. And we do that as non-white people, like every day we experience it. It could be direct, sometimes it's indirect, sometimes it's a microaggression, sometimes it's a macroaggression, however the name you want to use, it's still racism. Whatever you want to frame it or call it that day, the shit is still racism. And it hurts and it's rough and it takes a toll on you. So within our abolition social work, as we call it, we really just try to support people through that. And we also do that through our trainings, through our consulting. Everything we do is really trying to teach people how to advocate and how to organize. I firmly believe that community organizing is the answer. You can organize around any issue. We have, people who don't agree with us organizing. Everyone can organize. Everyone should be organizing in community with other people because that's how you grow, that's how you learn, and that's how you develop. So that is our highlights there. So we can stop sharing that, and then I can kind of go over what 2024 looks like, and then I just want to address one other thing as well. So let me just check and make sure, but I don't think there are any questions that would have been put in the name. All right. So for 2024, we're going to be our offerings. So we're going to call them offerings instead of programs. We really do not want to fall into the trap of the nonprofit industrial complex. So with that being said, we don't want to become a system. Like, what the hell is the point of fighting a system if you become a system? So that's why TAG has always done things a little differently. So our 2024 offerings, and when we did our rebrand, we kind of shifted our mission and our vision. So I'm going to read out our vision. It's all on our website, and we did a whole report when we did our rebrand. But we envision closing the gap for those who suffer social injustices, especially in small communities, so they can live in their truth without apology, limitation, stigma, or oppressive stereotypes or expectations. Our why is representation. Those who suffer social injustices are on a lifelong journey to find liberation mentally, physically, and spiritually. So, with that being said, we really wanted to get more into our wellness sessions in 2024. Our target audience is going to be, BIPOC people, people of the global majority. And we're going to do things, I would say, a little differently. So we want to become a resource for the movement. When I say movement, I'm talking about the movement for Black liberation. So we're going to have offerings for activists and organizers. We want to do some healing circles, yoga and meditation, maybe a self-defense workshop. And then we also will continue to do our private tag liberation wellness sessions. And this shift really comes from the fact that we've taught people how to organize. Um, Take Action Advocacy Group has been around since 2014. And initially, we were a community group. And I think some people often get that confused and they say, "Are you are a nonprofit?" Yeah, we are a nonprofit, but we were not in the beginning. In 2014, when we started, we were a community group. In 2019, we got a fiscal sponsor, One Hood Media. Shout out to One Hood. Shout out to Jasiri. Shout out to Celeste, Farouk, Miracle, everybody there. I'm always going to shout One Hood out because it was One Hood that came to me and said, "Hey, we'll be your fiscal sponsor so you can, kind of make tag a nonprofit." So in 2019, One Hood was our fiscal sponsor. And in 2020, we got our own C3, our own nonprofit status. So we are a nonprofit, a full nonprofit. I wanted to get that out as well. And then one thing I forgot to highlight, which I will, is that this past year, we were able to get some grant funding from national organizations such as Ben and Jerry's, Movement for Black Lives, Black Birders Matter, and the Balance. I don't ever say that right, so I'll make sure I put it in the chat. The Balancers Philanthropy Foundation. So that was something really big for us. We got our operating budget over 100,000. That was last year in 2023. So thank you all for your support to get to that point. But for 2024, we're going to do healing circles, yoga meditation, and it's really important to teach people how to rest and to center themselves. Like I said, we spent a lot of time teaching people how to organize and how to organize their community, how to organize themselves. But now we really want to get into the healing part. Um, how does it look to heal? What does it look like to you for healing? How do you rest? How do you stop your mind from constantly thinking about racism, white supremacy, and just the fucked up shit that happens in the world. Like, how do you get your mind to stop doing that? And one thing that we know that helps is yoga and meditation. So we really want to get into healing in 2024. Racism, white supremacy, we know that ain't going nowhere. But how are you healing from it? Are you resting? Are you understanding that you are not the answer? Are you stuck in individualism? And I'll, speak for myself that I've definitely was for a while because I got so burnt out and thinking, oh, I got this, I have to do that. I was like, no, I don't have to do anything. We have to do it. So, and just having a nonprofit and having TAG was really helpful to get me, I would say, get me to this point. But that's where the healing comes from. And we're talking about, we really want to get into some deep healing. So beyond just having one wellness session or a self-care day, like we really want to get into the healing. Like, how does that look for people? We want to do some more of our wellness sessions online where we are giving people concrete plans. Like, what is your self-care plan? Does that include yoga? Does that include meditation? Art as well. We want to incorporate that into our wellness session. A Black Authors Book Club where we read books like Rest is Resistance and talk about how do we rest. Liberation nap sessions. We want to have people come together and they just nap. They just sleep. Black people just sleeping and Black people resting in Black spaces only because it's important for us at times to have our own spaces, especially to heal, because we're healing from generations and generations of trauma, and it's hard to sometimes do that if it's a space where white people are. So a lot of our wellness sessions are just Black spaces, and we'll be doing some for other marginalized groups as well, such as women. So that's what we'll be doing in 2024, kind of adding on to a lot of our programming. And in 2023, and we have so many highlights. It's another highlight. We did wellness sessions with a group in Pittsburgh, Melanin Mamas, where we talked about gun violence and the effects that that has on Black mothers. And that was an amazing shout out to Latrice and the work she's doing over at Melanin Mamas. A lot of our mothers that participated in that program came to us actually after the session was over, and they said we want to do more. So we're able to get another therapist in here to continue on for another. It was like another 4 weeks of sessions with them. So that showed us that they're ready. People are ready for healing, and they're ready kind of for that next step. So things that we're kind of no longer doing in 2024. We are going to make our complaint program short term, just because of the capacity that it takes to kind of do that work continuously and continue. So we're going to make that short term. We probably won't be doing our seasonal transportation assistance program. Court support will also be short term. And then we'll stop doing the donations to community events unless there is, money in the budget for that. So that's how things are going to kind of shift. And then I made this post because before I log off here, I want to address some things that I feel like, um, just based off of what some people have said to me, and just things, I have ears and eyes and all that good stuff. I hear and I see. And there was some things that I wanted to address. So basically, in regards to how myself and Tag, I would say, holds Black people and other people of color accountable when we feel like they don't advocate for racism and we feel like they try to keep white people comfortable. So when this happens, we firmly believe that Black people can disagree publicly on principles. I'm going to say that again because sometimes that is a ways for controversy. Some people believe that, you should not let white people see you fight. You should handle things behind closed doors. And it's a mixed bag. I don't not agree with that, but I feel like sometimes there is things where we should and we must disagree publicly. First of all, Black people are not a monolith. We don't all think alike, talk alike, or look alike. None of that shit is true. So we have difference of opinions. When you have difference of opinions, that is a good thing. That is good for growth. That is good for development. It encourages people to think for themselves. It encourages communication and conversation. Oftentimes, and I say this a lot, when things are uncomfortable, that's when shit changes. When you are uncomfortable, that's when things change. So if we continue to keep white people comfortable, if we continue when we're at these tables, and there's some tables that Tag and myself can't get onto or won't be invited to, let me say that, because we, I would say, consistently speak out. And we're labeled as revolutionary, which is a compliment to us. So keep doing that shit because that's a compliment to us. But that doesn't get us invited to all the tables. But there are some activists and organizers at these tables, and sometimes they don't go hard, I would say, for Black folks and for other marginalized groups when they're at these tables. It becomes multiracial. It becomes an all thing. And no, like it's okay for it to be a Black thing. It's okay to push Black issues. It's okay to say the word Black. It's okay to have just Black spaces, especially in this county where we need that. And we know about the gender equity report and what that says for Black women. And we that damn report, those reports come out every year to prove what we already know. So with that being said, if you're at a table and you're not speaking up, that's what we call safe activism, and it literally gets us nowhere. We protested in this county for a good 3-4 years, nonstop, from Antoine Rose II to so many other issues. We just protested and protested. So sometimes I'll look around me and I'll see, some of the moves that people are making, and I'm like, damn, the hell do we do all of that for if when we get to the position, we're not speaking up and the laws and the policy changes that affect us are being done. And if they are being done, they're watered down amongst other things. And we're not getting concrete change and things are looking the same, but the players are just changing. So what is the point if we're just changing the looks of people or the race or the gender, whatever, if we're just changing, but nothing else changes. So with that being said, there are some times where I do publicly, myself and Ted do publicly call folk out for that. We did that with in Wilkinsburg. We went to Maria, the mayor at that time, Rita Garrett, and advocated for Ramir Talley. Don't regret doing any of that. We just recently spoke out against Mayor Ed Gainey, his police proposal to propose not proposal, he did it to get rid of community engagement department and have like this unit that is similar to the one in Memphis that killed Tyree Nichols. So we speak out against those things. There's some things that we call people in for. We call those our accountability meetings. We've done those too, where y'all don't hear about it. It never gets out. We were involved with a report one time that we didn't feel like was revolutionary enough. So we had a lot of, I would say, backdoor meetings about that. Didn't really go public, but we did talk to a lot of people about it. We went to the people directly about it, and talked to my mentors and the elders about it. And so we'll be releasing a report this year to kind of give an alternative to that, to not really call anyone out. And that's really never the case. It's never to embarrass people or hurt people's feelings, but it is to hold people accountable. I personally feel like that's our responsibility in this work, is to call people in to hold them accountable. So when things are just mad or egregious, like just egregious as hell, like we coming after folks. Like the Tyree Nichols, those were Black officers. That shit was egregious. So yeah, we just gonna say that. We ain't calling you in for nothing. Most times we will call you in and let you know what's going on. That doesn't erase the fact that we gonna call you out. We had Latoya Brown on here last year, one of our shows. She is the school board member in McKeesport area school district. And, I said to her at that time, like, I know she's there, she's Black, the superintendent is Black. I said, that don't mean nothing if you're not actually addressing the issues of Black students. I said that literally on one of these live shows. So none of this should surprise people. But like I said, I do feel like there are times where we have to have the courage enough to disagree publicly. And you don't have to, cuss people out or curse people out and even bring any of the personal stuff in. This is based on principle. Principle, I didn't like when you did this, this, and this. Principle, I feel like you should have did this because this would have pushed the Black agenda forward more. And when some people get into these spaces, they lean. It's almost like they just slowly go into being safe activists, where it's like, and strategy becomes more important than actually pushing for Black people. And I'm all for strategy as well, but at the end of the day, for Black folk. So if I'm at a table, I'm talking about Black people because that's people that are most impacted. And I don't know, it's for when people start getting some of these jobs and these appointments and these positions, it's almost like they like beat that out of you. So we feel like it's a responsibility. And we'll continue to do that. We're going to continue to hold people accountable. We're going to continue to call you out on principle, myself and Tag. And like I said, I just feel like that sometimes gets misunderstood, especially in regards to myself, in regards to, how I do move. But if I feel like you're out here in these streets misrepresenting Black people or just not, and that's where it really pisses me off, where you're just not advocating for us when you're at the table. Our ancestors died so we can do what we're doing. And that means something to me. I've always had a connection with my ancestors, and I've always said that when I'm out there doing that work, they take over, and they do. That is not me. I've been doing it since I was 11. It's impossible for any of this to just be me. So, knowing that, I feel like we should sit in that power and hold people accountable, regardless if they're Black, white, orange, green, or purple. It doesn't matter. Look at what's going on in Atlanta with Stop Cop City. The mayor's Black, the council people are Black. So, I mean, half damn Atlanta is Black, just about all of it. So, it doesn't matter. We have to be able to hold people accountable regardless. And yes, yes, we need to do that with other Black people when necessary, based on principle. We have to. We owe it to the people we're fighting for to do that. Because if we don't do that, then we'll have people watching like, oh, that's the way you'll do it. So we'll have generations of people come and getting involved for an incident, stand for a short amount of time, moving up the ladder, maybe advancing themselves and the people around them. But what about the rest of us? What about the rest of us out here who you're speaking for? And I know it's not easy. I know it's you sacrifice a lot. I know that, trust me firsthand, but it doesn't mean you don't do it, you all. It doesn't mean that we just sit down and rest and don't speak up. That's not what that means. So that's why a lot of times we have called folk out. We have pointed things out to people because it's just necessary. If you are in a position and you're not advocating for Black people, and then you'll be able to tell your policies, your procedures, your programs, trust me, it will show. It will show. And I think a lot of times what happens here is people will do one community engagement, maybe two, hell, maybe three, canvas once or twice, and you're like, that's it. We have engaged the community. You have not. That is an ongoing process. Also, if you're going to have programs, do your best to not involve police in the programs. Nothing just perturbs me more when people will put out something and say, well, this is an alternative to something. This is it. But then the police are involved, either directly or indirectly. The information is getting back to the police, or the police they're involved. We do not need any more systems or programs that are inching us closer to system involvement. We don't need that, you all. We need more things that are utilizing our own skills. So as abolitionists, we believe that the more programming that we can get where we're doing it for ourselves, not attached to any system, including elected officials, police, parole officers, any of that, that's true abolition. That's true community building. So if you're putting out a program and there's any like indirect connection to somebody ending up in the system, that is not good. We do not need to be in system. So, and that's another reason why we start doing a lot of this consulting work that I do. individually as well as with tag as well. So I hope that answers the questions or concerns that some folks may have in regards to why we do what we do. Let me just see. Is there any questions in the chat? I don't think so because my folks didn't put it in the thing here. So it doesn't look like there are any. And then in closing, I just want to say that we are hiring. So TAG is hiring. We're hiring for a community organizer with our partners at WAVAC. So that is on our website. We'll make sure to put that here in the comment section from this live as well. So if you are interested in Black liberation and helping us do some movement building, please come on and apply. This is a job, but we really see this as a lifestyle. Our movement for Black liberation, our fight is a lifelong commitment. So if you're looking to build, I would say, if you're looking to build for Black people, if you're just looking for a job, just looking for a paycheck, this is not the job for you. But however, if you're looking for something to really be committed for Black people and Black liberation and helping out with that, then TAG would be a really good fit for you. Also in 2024, we'll be doing a lot more work in the Atlanta area. We want to have chapters across the world. We recognize that, racism, white supremacy affects everyone across the world. That's why we've been so adamant about for Palestine and Congo and everywhere else people are oppressed because it's not just an American thing. Hell, it's everything. So we are everywhere. So if you're interested in those things, please apply on our website. So I think that is all I had for today. I thought that it would be six. I was like, oh, we done 6:50, 6:55, but I can just go on and on. So that is it. Please go on our website and apply for our open position, our community organizer position. Just to ramp through our highlights again, we for this 2023, we were able to get funding from a lot of national organizations. Thank you for that. We did a wellness session with Melanin Mamas. We served over 44 people just total, but within our complaint program, 44. Within our listening sessions, we had over about 65 people come to those as well. So thank you for all your support. Thank you for everything. Please send us love and light. This work is hard. We're always in need of donations, grants, volunteers. You can sign up for that through our website. Just to reiterate again, Take Action Advocacy Group is a nonprofit. We started out as a community group in 2014. However, we are a nonprofit. I thanked our team in the beginning. Thank you all so much for everything. And just as usual, our lives will be up here, and everybody can feel free to just see this at a later date. But that was our highlights of 2023. What we're working on in 2024, as well as why we will continue to hold Black people accountable publicly when needed based on principle. So thank you all for joining us, and I'll share. I'm going to stop this live now. Peace.